May I invite Dr. Sushma Kulkarni Garu from Nikmar University to deliver her keynote session on Framework for Developing Academic Leadership at All Levels.
So good afternoon, everyone. So yes, academic leadership. I think most of us have heard about leadership, right? Very commonly used word, but the emphasis here is academic leadership. A few quick response if I can get. What is academic leadership? What's your perception? Anyone would like to try? Vice Chancellor. Okay. Any other answer? Any administrative post. Anything else? You have not been listening, huh? Just now we heard about EPICS program. What he wanted to prepare? Leadership. Lead by example, but in his title, what was there? I caught it more because I'm going to correlate here. He's talked about creating community leaders. So who is going to do that? Academic leaders, faculty. So all faculty is academic leader, right? In our mind, when it comes to leadership, we feel it's only administration. So I just wanted you all to think, if you want to progress in your career, start thinking about it, planning about it now. At whatever phase of organization structure, wherever you are placed today, from there you can rise up to the leadership role. So in fact, as a teacher, are you leader in your classroom? Who is asking you anything? You are leader. The students follow you. So if students are following you, you are the leader over there. So my presentation briefly, I'll cover the academic leadership, new landscape, why we are talking about it so much now, leadership grid, certain challenges and how we can prepare the framework of leadership in the organization, and conclusion for further reading. So Dr. Oliver Sale, who has authored the book Deanship in the Global South, Bridging Troubled Waters. He says, my experience is that universities can stand or fall on academic leadership, and never more so than in the last decade or so. Okay, so that's how it is very important. And what exactly is academic leadership? It refers to inspiring and guiding faculty, students, and staff to achieve the educational institution's mission and vision. It includes anything with innovation and inclusivity. It drives institutional growth and global competitiveness, because we all want to be global universities now, and ensures academic excellence and the societal impact. So just what we heard from Bill. In fact, we have been hearing about AI. Gen AI is the title here. We heard about OB. We heard about community projects. So it's all about academics, right? So how academic leadership and how it is different, why we are calling it. In any organization, so in academics, what is the job profile of academic leader? We talk of curriculum design, delivery, evaluation, vision, strategy, research, scholarship, execution, quality assurance, finance and resource management. See, every faculty gets a budget for his or her own training. You have to manage that budget yourself. As a lab in charge, you have a budget, you have to manage it, right? So you have to learn about finance, accounting, stakeholder relations, industry connect, everything is expected from an academic leader. Similarly, a person who is a leader in the industry, I have taken the profile of a leader who is in construction industry, because NICMAR belongs to that category of university. So it's more again about visioning, planning, setting goals, delivery on time, stay on budget, keep client and your boss on top. But here the basic knowledge is more about contracts, tenders, equipments, machinery, managing materials, right? So the domain knowledge changes. Similarly, when you go to government, what about a profile of an IS officer? Formulating policies, implementing it, again visioning, revenue generation. So similarly in the corporate sector. So leadership is common, but when I say academic or corporate or industry, the domain changes a little bit. Now, why we are talking so much about academic leadership? Because the landscape is changing. We have seen so many challenges the universities or the institutes or the education sector is facing. We have been like listening from yesterday, like graduates have to be employable, how demand supply imbalance is there, how AI is going to replace teachers, or how AI can support teachers, lots of new concepts, things we have been listening. So I think that's all. It's all driven by globalization, the dynamics of business condition, evolving needs, the how to engage students is a big challenge. Gen Z students, that is the word which has come. So this is, focusing that we should have agile and skilled academic leaders. Traditional leadership, what was it? More of academic scholarship and research expertise. How much marks you have got in BTech, how much marks you have got in MTech, how great you are in PhD, right? And you could get selected. Then leadership development was not considered as a crucial as in corporate settings. So we used to say that's all for corporate, or like I got one answer, the VC only needs to learn leadership, right? So those are our perception. But modern leadership, what it says, that academic leaders are expected to be collaborative. We want MOUs, collaboration with industries, communicative, innovative. So should have patents, should have technology transfers, startups, entrepreneurships on your campus. They have to be decisive, take decisions, step by step. And of course, academic and research scholarship. That has not left the base. Then they must navigate complex challenges, meet expectations, etc., etc. Lots of expectations. So I would like you to see this video.
तो मुझे दोष दे रहे हो? एक स्टूडेंट प्रेशर नहीं ले पाता तो हम जिम्मेदार कैसे? वैसे लाइफ में कई प्रेशर्स आएंगे तो हमेशा तुम दूसरों में दोष डालोगे?
सर मैं आपको दोष नहीं दे रहा हूं सर। सर मैं एक्चुअली सिस्टम को दोष दे रहा हूं। सर मेरे पास कुछ स्टैटिस्टिक्स हैं सर। सर सुसाइड्स में इंडिया नंबर 1 है सर। हर 1.5 घंटे में कोई ना कोई स्टूडेंट सुसाइड अटेम्प्ट करता है सर। यहाँ पे स्टूडेंट्स बीमारी से कम और सुसाइड से ज्यादा मरते हैं। कुछ तो गलत हो रहा है ना सर?
मैं दूसरे कॉलेजेस के बारे में नहीं बता सकता। दिस इज वन ऑफ द फाइनेस्ट कॉलेजेस इन द कंट्री। 25 साल से मैं ये कॉलेज चला रहा हूं और 28th पोजीशन से नंबर 1 तक लेके आया हूं मैं।
सर व्हाट नंबर 1 सर? व्हाट नंबर 1? सर यहाँ पे कोई नए आइडियाज की बात ही नहीं करता सर। इन्वेंशंस की बात ही नहीं करता। बात करते हैं तो सिर्फ मार्क्स की या फिर यूएसए में नौकरी की। सर यहाँ पे ज्ञान नहीं मिल रहा है सर। यहाँ पे सिर्फ ये सिखाया जा रहा है कि मार्क्स कैसे लें।
तुम मुझे सिखाओगे कैसे पढ़ाते हैं?
नो सर आई सर
प्लीज सिट डाउन। आज हमारे बीच एक ऐसे लीडर है जिनका मानना है कि वो हमारे हाईली क्वालिफाइड टीचर से बेहतर पढ़ा सकते हैं। तो आज प्रोफेसर रणछोड़ दास छाछड़ हमें इंजीनियरिंग सिखाएंगे।
But anyway, so I want you to, we'll discuss this in the breakout session more, but is it an example of good academic leadership? Raise your hand, those who feel it is good academic leadership. None? Not a single hand raised? Or a bad academic leadership? Some people are nowhere, hanging. They have not worked. Yeah. So, but at least for bad leadership, I could see lots of hands. So all of us understand what is good and what is bad, right? Now, how will you define your own career path in your own organization structure or in general organization structure of any educational institute? So see where you are, okay? Wherever you are, do that gap analysis. How will you develop yourself and which position you want to reach? What's your dream? Okay, because if you do your own analysis, when you do gap analysis, you will know whether you want to be a core researcher or you want to rise up to the next level, right? Or you want to be a professor, if you want to be associate professor, right? So those are designations and positions. So you have to define your own career path. In any organization, generally, what we observe, that faculty appraisal and development goes together. That's how a faculty is developed in any university or institute. As per UGC guidelines, certain components have been defined for faculty appraisal. First is teaching learning, delivery, then research and development is the second component. Third is administration, which calls for committee work, professional society work, community service, leadership in any event, etc., etc. There is a big list. And underlying all this is, whenever your appraisal is done, is the attitude and behavior with which you do all the 1, 2, 3 components. That's very important. Now, from this appraisal, I think most of you must be going through it. How faculty development is promoted is the gaps in competency and skills are evaluated. When I do my self appraisal, I know where I am lacking. When my superior does my appraisal, from his or her point of view, I know where I am lacking. And based on that, a development plan can be created. We have to look at appraisal as a development process, right? So what skills you need to develop? Where are the gaps? What skills you need to develop? What are your aspirations? Where do you want to reach in your life? Have you thought about your career path? That's very important. I generally, when I talk to faculty, most of them, they say, ठीक है, देखेंगे जो होगा वो देखते जाएंगे. Okay, let me see what happens with my life. But why don't you think of, be the architect of your life? Then, is my competency setting me on the trajectory of my professional growth? Okay, you have to evaluate yourself step by step. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about the leadership grid, like what are the different leadership styles, okay? And in leadership style, you have to identify your strengths and weaknesses of the way you lead. So this you can do in your classroom also, how students respond to you, right? Then there is this Blake and Mountain managerial grid, which helps you to think about your leadership style and its effect on your team's productivity. It's based on two behavioral dimensions, which we have seen just now in Bill Oak's presentation. There was concern for people and there is concern for the task. Okay, so Blake and Mount has given this leadership style mount. On x-axis, you see the task concern. On the y-axis, you see the people concern. Any leader in the organization, if you are in the grid of low, that is 1.1, what is it? You are not bothered about the task. It happens with the teachers also. There are certain faculty who is not bothered what assignment is given and they are not bothered how many students have completed it. There is low, not bothered about much. So such people become improvised type of managers, very low in quality. Next quadrant, if you see 1-9, which is shown, so concern for task is high and the people concern is also equally high. Such type of people are, task concern is low, but people concern is high. So they are goodies, not bothered about the task, but then always happy with the students, putting hands around their shoulder, being friends, going for parties, keeping them happy. So such type of leaders or managers would be country club managers. Just try to see where you are, because in our breakout session, we are going to measure your quadrant, where you are going to be, what is your leadership style. Similarly, the best ones are 9-9 quadrant. What is it? High on people and high on task. So you should be able to balance the task and your interrelationships, your relationships with the people. That person makes the best manager. You can always find it your leadership style. Okay, this is easy to do. Coming next, I would like to explain that as a leader, always aim for quality in any task which you take up. And how to do that? So I'm very much influenced by Juran's trilogy. Juran has given this, that any quality work which you want to do, start with planning. Quality planning, if that planning is properly done, like this conference which we are seeing here, ICTI conference, I know how much time would have gone in quality planning, the sessions, the design of sessions, right? Then quality improvement. Next is quality control. So controlling that each session is, we have Krishna with his bell around. Okay, whether the experts, resource persons are here on time or not. Okay, whether participants are getting proper messages. So you see the planning is so good. All of us have groups. We know where to go. There are people to guide us. So this all accounts to quality into it, right? And then the quality improvement. So once this event is over, again these people will sit around what went well, what did not go well, and next time what should be the change. So always follow this simple method, 3 words: quality planning, quality control, and quality improvement. This will help you to become a quality leader. Coming next is PDCA cycle, simple concepts for continuous improvement. Whatever you are planning to do, first plan the details. Okay, what you want to do, like I've given an example of how you will plan for an event in your own department. So plan in details, do it, execute that plan, facilitate speaker sessions, etc., etc. Check and act if there are mistakes. So PDCA cycle in small activities will help you for continuous improvement in whatever you are doing. Here I am suggesting the leadership development framework. Okay, myself and my colleague, she's here, Dr. Kirti, we had done a research, small research, and we had published a paper also on this. And we came out with these outcomes, which we have tried to put it in the form of framework, that if you want systematic academic leadership skill development at higher education institutes, first is focus on the culture of academic excellence. That's very important. That's our primary job, academic excellence. Career planning for academic leaders. Whosoever is in academics has to plan for their own career pathways, and adequate financial support. This is for the top management, that if you want your HEI, your university to be in the NIRF top 50, top 100, every management wants you should be in QS top 100, you should be in Times THE survey top 100, NRF top 50, like that. But then if you want that, I think you need to have adequate financial support for faculty development. So from career planning, it can be leadership skills development program for aspiring entry-level leaders, leadership skill development program for mid-career leaders, and last is the leadership skill development program for senior leaders. So try to segregate in three so that you can give them focus on what type of training they should get, because everyone need not get each type of training. And then I have just detailed over there what type of training you can provide for each level of leadership. Some practical implications, again, as I said, culture of academic excellence you will develop if you establish clear expectations, provide opportunities for growth to your faculty, and recognize and reward the outstanding contributions. This is very important. You have to segregate. It's like one of my professors, he has taught me, learn to segregate donkeys and horses. If you don't segregate, all horses will become donkey one day, and your institute will be down into drains, right? Though the language was little bit rough, but then, those sentences didn't go out of my mind. Provide the financial support for whatever you wish to do, and career planning is something which the leaders should also think. There has to be a succession plan. Like Gilbert has said, there should be 3-point succession plan. One is, whatever position you are in, mentor and nurture your juniors to take your position, and you prepare yourself to reach the top positions, right? These are some of the challenges in academic leadership skill development. I think we'll discuss during our breakout session with the people. Something which every management has to plan is continuous development of faculty. For further study of this academic leadership, this is a book which myself and Dr. Rohit, we have taken the lead to write, and of course Michael Orr was there. We three of us thought of writing a book on academic leadership in engineering education, and this book Krishna had introduced during introduction also. It's sponsored by ABET, and thanks to Dr. Michael Milligan for supporting all the initiatives here. And we are going to gift one copy to each of the consortium leaders, of course sponsored by Michael Milligan, ABET, and Dr. Krishna, who is going to do this work of distributing to the consortium leaders. It has very interesting, more than 80 authors all over the world, global leaders, and it's not theory, it has case studies, very interesting case studies, how it can be implemented. Those concepts need to be implemented. So first section is on governance leadership, second is on creating quality learning experiences, third is on preparing institutions to become knowledge hub through research, patent, entrepreneurship, etc. And last is on empowerment of faculty and students. So hope this will really form a good reading for all of you, those who aspire to make great careers in education. So thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your profound insights. Your perspectives have added immense value to our gathering.